Hey guys, so today I'm tackling what turned out to be a rather large project for me and I'm using a case full of the Dollar Tree cube storage square drawer things. I don't even know what they're really called, but that's what they are. So I've got an entire case of them, 24 of them, and I picked up 4 of these Family Dollar Easter signs on clearance. They had been $3, but they were marked down. And I've got 4 of those. And I've also got 4 of the Dollar Tree Easter signs, the, more flimsy, the ones that we use all the time. So with all of these pieces, I'm going to create an apothecary cabinet. And I know I'm a little late to the game with this. Many people have already done these. I'm trying to be a little extra with mine. So here's the Wayfair version. You can get a 9-drawer Wayfair version for like $44. No, I'm spending that to make one that's got 28 drawers. Using all of those and building 4 more drawers of my own. So, and you'll see the whole process here. So there's a lot to unpack. I found these on Cherish. They have antiques as inspiration for building my version. And I picked up some of the brass drawer pulls from Amazon. I will link those below in the description box. But these are, kind of a standard for a piece like this, right? And I was looking for something to make it look vintage or antique. And they will fit perfectly right on these Dollar Tree drawer things. So yeah, it's gonna be quite a bit. So I'm gonna take some cardboard to cover up the inside, which you won't see the outside, so I'm not really gonna worry about covering that up. But definitely want to cover up the back on the inside. So adding that, my boards, my drawer pulls, and some other scrap pieces of wood, some tumbling tower blocks, or no, regular blocks. Anyway, just some stuff. So this project turned out to be way bigger than I anticipated, and it took me 6 days because of the crazy Texas weather, which I will also show you later on as I'm working on this. So let's get into it. Now, to lay out my cabinet, I decided to go with a 6-drawer row. So I'm going 6 drawers across, and I'll do 2 drawers down, and then I'm going to put drawers in between my miniature drawers, small drawers. So bear with me as I try to explain. I'm going to do 2 rows of 6, and then I will have 2 drawers below, and then another 2 rows of 6, and then 2 more drawers below. So here's my sketch. This is the idea of how I want it to look. If you can see that. 6, so 12, and then 2, and then 12, and then 2. And using the thicker MDF boards from Family Dollar, I'm going to use it to frame those in, to frame it all in together, like you would a cabinet. The top, the bottom, and 2 sides. And then the thinner Dollar Tree signs I will use to separate for the drawers, which it didn't work out quite the way I wanted because I miscalculated some things, and you'll see later, but it works out in the end. I made it work. My new slogan, of course. So I will use these against the bottom of the rows and in between, and you'll see. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use all of these pieces to construct the majority of this tabletop cabinet. And so that's pretty much the gist of it. So what I need to do here is obviously take all the stuff off of these signs. Now the letters are foam, which are easy. but these bunnies are not. And they used some serious glue because I had a hell of a time taking these apart, but I got it there. And and of course, you know, there's glitter, which I'm going to sand it down. And I didn't think I was going to paint, but guess what? I painted it after all. So the outside is what's going to be used because it's got these grooves in to make it look like shiplap, and I wanted the outside to be smooth. So that will be facing in. And yeah, so I need to strip these off. And here I have my all of my drawers laid out so I can try to start getting my basic measurements before I can get outside and cut anything. And width-wise, I'm looking at it's right around 19 inches almost exactly. And I think I go 19 inches just to err on the side of caution. So I'll need to cut all my boards down to 19 inches. And these boards are like almost 2 feet. They're like 23 and a quarter or 23 and a half inches long. Not quite 24 inches, which, I mean, it would be nice if it was, because that would make sense for a lot of different projects, but they're not. But anyway, I digress. So measuring that, and I will just cut these ends off because the staples were stuck in there. I was just not getting them out. And I would have ruined it anyway if I tried, so I just, okay, fine, I could just cut off at that end. So that's the idea, top, bottom, and 2 sides. So to get a little more accurate of a measurement for the height, now my drawers I want to be the same size. So I'm just as a placeholder using, I have 3 extra of these. So as a placeholder, you know, I'm just using another box so I can, or 2 of the other boxes, so I can get my height measurement. Geez, that was a roundabout way of explaining it. Sorry about that. So I can measure from the top then to the bottom to get my height, which you can't see the bottom portion off because it's off camera. But I got to, and it's like almost also 19 inches. And I think I end up measuring with those other boards to try to come up with the, anyhow, I made it, it's basically 19 by 20. All right, so I'm cutting some actually thin plywood sheets that I found in my stash. And this is what's going to make my drawers. Now, I was going to try to maybe do it with the other Dollar Tree signs, but I chose not to. So I'm just using my scroll saw and cutting through my plywood sheets to make my drawers. So here I've got my cubes kind of assembled, right? I'm just measuring now to get the width of my drawers. So I'm measuring from one side to the like middle. Right, so I'm going to measure from the edge, the far edge, to the inside, and then I'm going to probably use, that's not even what I use for this, the thickness for the separator for the 2 drawers. Anyway, you guys know I suck at explaining things, so I'm going to try though. These Dollar Tree boards are the same thickness as the little boxes, so I'm using it as to measure and to figure out where I'm going to put things. So from the inside edge of the one center box to the outside edge of the other box at the far end is that's the width of my drawer. And then again, the other side will be the inside edge to the farthest outside edge. And then, well, I'll measure it and then cut them all accordingly. So it's like 9 inches or so. I think it's like 9 1/4 inches, 9 1/4 inches. So there's your 18 1/2, and then you've got the other one in the center. Anyway. But it just so happens that the scrap that I cut off of these pieces is the scrap that I use to build the little center separators and the sides of the drawers. So plenty of wood to work with. And as you can see, this has got a really good wood grain on it, and those boxes do not. So earlier when I said I wasn't going to paint, I ended up painting everything instead of staining because I was concerned that the wood wouldn't match up if I tried to stain it. So I just painted everything, and you'll see that in a minute. And I'm just cutting them out again. So at this point, it's the next day, and I'm going to wood fill any gaps that have been left, and there are a few because, as you know, these things are not exact. So I'm wood filling. I'll wood fill and sand and all that stuff. I'm trying to get everything as neat and tight as possible. But first, I'm going to construct these drawers now. I I don't even know why, because I'm not that bright sometimes. So for whatever reason, I just decided to make this harder on myself and not get the corner clamps out, which I thought were going to be too big to use, but they ended up working for the other 3 drawers that I've built. I should have done it all the way around. Anyway, I mean, it's just simple. I'm going to glue when my hands will cooperate, I'm going to glue the 2 small pieces to the 2 long pieces. You got your front, your back, and your 2 sides. And if you see that backing underneath for like a picture frame, I'm using that to make the bottom of my drawers. Um, these are left over from the project that I did for my mom, the greenhouse. I'll link that above. And I have all these left over, so I'm just going to use that. So here I have my boxes constructed. I have them wood filled, and I'm going to take the sander to the stuff, and yeah, I'm just going to sand it up. I'm also going to use this Rust-Oleum, the new 5-in-1 spray paint. This is in chestnut brown. Like I said, I was going to stain, and then I realized that it wouldn't look right because I have 2 very different kinds of wood product that I'm working with, and I wanted all of it to match. I didn't want my drawers to be way darker than the other drawers. So I'm just using this spray paint. Um, and yeah, that's this is the day after the previous clip there. This is like day 3 at this point of making this. So I think I've already sprayed the inserts, so now I just need to sand and spray these. So the great thing about this Rust-Oleum 5-in-1, and no, it's not sponsored. I wish they would sponsor me, Rust-Oleum. Hello, I love your work. I love your stuff. Uh, but I do have this can, and it has the 5-in-1 spray. So you've got 5 different options of spray pattern to choose from. There's, and I can't remember them all right off the top of my head. There's a vertical fan, there's a horizontal fan, there's a wide spray, a concentrated spray, and your standard. So for this project, I think I work with the vertical fan spray and the just a standard spray or the concentrated spray. I'm trying to remember. And it's kind of hard to see it right here because I'm not that good at spray painting. I'm not a professional. I wish I knew how to make it look good, but I'm just slapping the paint on here really. So I think I'm using the I think I used the number 2 mostly. And I think that was I think that one is the vertical fan, or maybe I was using no, it's the horizontal fan. I can't remember which settings or which number, so I think I just cycle through them until I find the one I want. But I end up, like I said, I use the vertical fan, and I think this was the wide spray, and you can see it kind of splotches, but it puts a lot of coverage out at once. So it's also really good too, but it kind of splotched up on me a little bit there. But yeah, the vertical fan, yeah, no, that's the, I don't know, whatever. So I'm just spray painting, as you can see. But I'll leave a link to this spray also in the description box. It's a really cool product. I'm glad I got a hold of it. It's really interesting, and if you're a crappy painter like me, when it comes to spray paint, having 5 different settings helps, because you can figure out which one will work best for what you're doing. So I use the, like I said, I think I use the number 2. I used the number 2 and the number 1 on the dial, whatever those were, to spray. I used one for the outside, and then I used another for the inside. Um, I didn't want to go too heavy on this because I kind of, I still wanted the wood look, at least on the drawers, to show through. You're not going to get any real grain on the boxes, the little boxes, much. But on those drawers, I'd wanted that, I still wanted you to be able to see the grain on it. So I just give it a light coat, a couple of light coats, because I go back and fill some more and then sand some more and then go another light coat over top. So that's it. And this is day 4, I believe. And this is where I'll be showing. I was rushing to beat the rain that was coming. Um, we had a lot of storms going on in the area, and yeah. Now I'm doing it inside, and I'm using the number 1, which I believe is the concentrated spray, to get down in there. And again, just light coats. I'm not trying to get too heavy-handed in there. As I ended up using pretty much the entire bottle of spray paint on this project. I had 24 cubby drawers to paint inside and out, 4 large drawers to paint inside and out, the boxes inside and out, and then the framing and the feet. And did I mention that I suck at spray paint? Hey, you know what? I suck at spray paint, so I probably used more than I needed, but less than I actually used. Whatever. So I'll show you here in a second this weather that I have to contend with. I'm literally watching the storm clouds rolling in as I'm out here hoping I have enough time. Yeah, this is what was going on above my head as I'm out here spray painting, waiting and hoping that it dries in time, because it was super hot at the time too. It was like 90 degrees. And I'll show you another view here in a minute. So this is what I had to work with that day, and this is the southern view of the sky, and it was much darker in person than it appears on camera. There's a little bit of blue sky over there, but yeah, so I'm racing against all of these clouds to try and get this stuff done. I don't have an inside space to do this stuff yet, but you guys could help with that by binging my channel. I have a link to all of my videos, and if you would do that, that will help me get my watch time hours up, and then I can get monetized and make that sweet YouTube money to build my she shed. And I will put your names on the walls. Now that would be a lot of people, but here it is the next day, and I am still working with crappy weather, but I have everything painted for the inside of this cabinet thing. I have the interior pieces done. I have my drawers, I have my little boxes, I have all of that. So now it's time to lay out the framing of this piece. And finally, in the final stretch, this is day 5. Ugh, what a nightmare. But it's so worth it, so worth it. So here I'm putting it, you know, kind of doing a rough fit almost, a rough draft of a rough fit, as it were, to get my more accurate measurements for the length and the, well, I already knew the top and the bottom, but to get the sides and to figure out where to put everything. So as you can see here, it's starting to come together a little bit. And those two bottom drawers stick out a little too far. I cut the sides a little too long, but that's okay because I'm gonna fix it anyway. I gave myself some extra room when I ripped down these boards, and you'll see that in a minute, to fix all of that stuff up. So now I'm measuring again, still 19 inches, and I think I got to like 19 and a half lengthwise, or widthwise. No, lengthwise. Anyway, so I'm going to cut some boards now. Like I said, I'm using the Family Dollar, the thicker MDF Family Dollar boards for the exterior framing, and then the Dollar Tree boards for the I don't know what you want to call it. It's just a separator boards. So what I'll need to do is rip those down and cut them to size. And for that, I'm going to use my miter saw and my circular saw, because I don't yet have a table saw. I'm hoping that I can talk the husband into getting me one for Mother's Day, because I really, really want a table saw. But I make do with what I have, as you do, and that's what I'm going to do. So, and this is, I'm trying to line my boards up, and I won't make you sit through this process because, I mean, I ended up screwing it all up anyway and didn't go with it this way anyhow, so let's cut some boards.
One eternity later.
And yet another 90-degree day, and outside, this is day 6 and the final day of this project, finally. So just lining up my cuts on the miter saw and slicing it, and it's just like a ½ inch too long, so I had to flip it around, as you can see there, to cut it, but it works out fine and makes quick work of it. And these are older Ryobi tools, but let me tell you, they still pack a punch, and I love that. Here I'm just using my circular saw to cut the length of my boards. It's not a very good stable area to cut with, but hey, it worked. And yeah, these things cut so easy, you know, on every tool I've used, so that made it really nice. So now that I have all of my boards cut, ripped, whatever you want to call it, everything is cut to size, and I wish I could cut that straight with the scroll saw, but I can't. These are all pretty darn perfect. They're pretty perfect. So now it's time to assemble these, and I will use my corner clamps again, just like I did with my drawers, top, bottom, 2 sides, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Now I'm giving it a dry fit. I have my outer shell done. Now I'm going to dry fit, and I've got my outer shell done, and so I'm going to make sure that all my pieces fit the way I want them to, and that's just what I'm going to do here, is dry fit before I glue everything together. I'm just trying to figure out which one's front, back, all that stuff, to fix that too long a drawer situation, to make sure everything is even in the front. I measure, I do from the bottom anyway. this is how everything is facing down. So I'm doing like, the back part is up. Again, with the explanation and me not so much. So I'm just dry fitting everything together to make sure all the pieces are going to fit that I need to fit. Then I will go on to gluing. Again, here you can see how those other bottom drawers are just a little bit too long, but they fit just inside of the frame, so that's perfect for me. I do need to add a back to it. I haven't done that yet, but I do need to add a back, and but yeah, I have some other things I want to do to it, but that's fine. I'll get to it at a later date probably. And here I'm showing what I'm doing with these boards, and I'm putting them like on the parts where I think that it's going to be harder to slide those drawers. So where the cubes went together, maybe it's not straight, so gluing that board helps give it a smooth surface for those drawers to slide in and out, if that makes sense. Now that everything is glued, and I again added some more wood fill just to fill in any gaps that I found after everything was glued and dried. I have my little separators, and yeah, so this also again will need to be sanded, and I'm going to use these square cubes, which actually were from my grandfather. I think they came from his stash. My mom has some of the stuff that had come from his shop, and I think those cubes were part of that. So a little bit of my woodworking grandpa went into this. Actually, a lot of him did in spirit. But yeah, this is finally shaping up, and is this day 6 still? It might be. I had the whole day I could work on it. That's right. So, yeah, this was Sunday. This was Sunday I did this. I'm recording this voiceover on Tuesday. I'm doing a voiceover because I had I had spoken through all of this, and it was so windy on playback I could not even hear my own voice. And I was right in front of the camera. That's how windy it was. You can see by my shirt blowing. And that was just a gentle breeze at that point. We had a lot of a gusty wind. So, yeah. And I know this is a boring view and shot, but have you ever had a project that you've just been obsessed with making? Like something that you've wanted to build or make or do for a very long time, to the point where you just like you feel like you cannot be a complete person without it? Have you ever felt like that? That's how I felt with this project. I don't know why, but for some reason, this has just been an obsession for me. And I'm so glad I'm finally here doing this. So I've got everything sprayed again, another light coat, as you can tell, and still, windy, which helped dry everything really nicely, quickly. So here are my feet that I'm going to attach. Not quite like the inspiration, but kind of. And I end up getting 2 more blocks of spray to put in the middle. But that's that, yeah. So I'm almost out of wood glue, out of spray paint. It's oh, this project. Oh, but it's so worth it in the end. So worth it. And I also found out doing this project that those 6 Wood Pro work clamps that I had, or Work Pro work clamps that I have, that I've showcased a few times, also in the description box, they're linked down there, that I love so much, I need more. I need to buy another set, and I'm going to definitely buy another set. Um, and some other interesting, not interesting news, some changes. I no longer work for Dollar Tree Family Dollar Corps. I am now over at Dollar General. I started there. Last night was my first night. Doing the same job. I'm just doing stock work. Same kind of schedule, just part time. But little bit better pay, and you know, eh. I still shop at Dollar Tree. I mean, my mom works there now, so we switched roles. She was working at Dollar General, and I worked at Family Dollar Dollar Tree. Now she works at the Family Dollar Dollar Tree, and I work at Dollar General. So we've got both of the stores covered at this point. So anything good at either store, we find it and we know about it. So either way. So yeah, I've just got the feet clamped on now. The last thing to do is to finish the little drawers. So let's go ahead and jump to that. So with these drawers now, I got the handles right from Amazon, and they're awesome, but there's a problem. These screws are too long. Okay, these little boxes are not that thick, right? And I have their metal handles, and so hot glue wouldn't work. E6000 isn't going to really work. I didn't have any super glue. So my solution is to take some of the mini tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree, because they are the right thickness. As you can see, those screws will go just in there perfectly, and they're nearly the exact width of these little drawer pulls. So my super wonderful hack for this, because my hands and I are not friends. We do not get along. I can't cut those screws. Just they're I can't. I just can't do it. So to use the screws, I need to have the block of wood behind it. So spray painting all of the tumbling tower blocks, gluing them on with the Gorilla Wood glue, and then I can add the drawer pulls. And I didn't think I was going to need pilot holes, but yes, I did need to drill pilot holes, which I did. And I've got my tiny screws and my tiny screwdriver to attach my drawer pulls. So getting the screws put in, definitely had to drill the pilot holes. So do you remember last year's project? My DIY pegboard that I actually hand drilled. I thought I was done with that, but when you got 28 drawers and you've got 28 handles and each one has 2 holes, you're drilling and screwing in 56, whatever. I was over it at that point. I ended up using the power screwdriver to put it together. So let's take a look at how they all turned out. Here she is, finally finished after 6 days of work, and I'm so excited to have this piece and that I made it and that it's decent and it's okay for what it is. I'm actually kind of stunned myself at how cohesive it looks in its way. Uh yeah. I'm God, I can't even. She's just I'm not done with her. I think I'm gonna touch her up some more, but there she is right now. And here are some detail shots. You know, it took 6 days, but it was so worth it because in the end, I think it looks pretty stinking good for what it is, and I couldn't be more proud of myself for finding a way to put this all together. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below, and check the description box for all the goodies that I'll have linked down there. And a link to a playlist of all of my videos is also down there. If you would, please just hit that and go have a binge have it on in the background where you're cleaning. Help me get those watch time hours up so I can get monetized and get my she shed. So I don't have to fight with the weather to do these projects. Um, and also, would you consider subscribing? And don't forget to ring the notification bell to be alerted to my uploads. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Take care, y'all. Bye.